NFL draft season is upon us. We are going to be doing our first mock draft for the 2024 season. We brought in our draft expert, aka just a friend here. Francis has always joined us for these episodes. I feel like loves the draft more than like the regular season itself. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna each go one by one and draft for the entire first round. So starting off, we have your Bears, Alex. You're on the clock.
On the clock.
I feel like it's gonna be a little quicker up here, up top.
I don't know. I might have to debate this one. Is it Marvin Harrison? No, we don't have to. We don't have to spend a ton of time here. We all know where they're going.
Yeah.
QB1, QB of the future, Caleb Williams.
And oh yeah, just before we move on to the next pick, this is where what we think teams will do, not like what we hope they do or what, we would do ourselves. Just what we think the team is going to take, and we're not doing any trades in this draft. All right.
No fun. No fun at all.
Except for this pick.
Completely not realistic, but yeah.
Except for this pick. The Colts had traded up to the Redskins to get Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's it.
For just a first and a third. Crazy.
Obviously not realistic, but like we're not gonna go through this trying to project trades right now.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right. Yeah, so I'm with the commies. I think this one is a pretty chalk pick. I feel like recently there's been a little bit more churn with Drake May he's getting the same treatment that the Titans QB
Levis?
Levis had last year, where he's skyrocketing close to the draft after not really getting much love for like kind of top three. I think it's kind of just smoke and mirrors right now. I think you go with the just elite, just dual threat QB that I think, yeah, pull it up. Jaden Daniels, I think he's the obvious pick here. I think he's probably a little slower, barely slower than Lamar Jackson, but I think he has better touch on the ball. I think you can really build an offense around him. Probably needs to bulk up a little bit to stay healthy, but I think he's the obvious pick at number 2.
Any concerns over that elbow? Looks like he's growing like 4 elbows.
He says his elbow's fine.
Yeah,
I think he said that was.
I'm sure he
out.
does.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Hey, go read. Shout out to Dr. Jesse Morse. He put an article out on his elbow. Apparently, it's just a big ball of fluid there at the end. So, no condition, no impact to the throwing motion. He's good.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the third pick here. You guys could put away your chalk. We got Jared Mayo, new head coach of the Patriots. He's going to try to make a splash early here.
I know you're going to say something stupid. That's not.
It's not going to be stupid. I need you to. All right, we'll walk through it.
They're taking a quarterback, and if you don't think they are, then you just.
I think they will take a quarterback in this draft, 100%.
My gosh,
but I don't think they're doing it at pick 3 here because Mayo's a defensive guy. They bring in Alex Van Pelt to basically lead this offense. He's kind of an NFL veteran. Was with the Browns last year. He did not do good with Jaden Daniels. With Deshaun Watson, who I think is kind of more like Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's off the board here, but I think the strategy around this is that offense was so slow and boring last year. They need some fireworks. I think Bobby Kraft wants a big name in the building, a guy with NFL legacy in his blood, and they're going to take Marvin Harrison.
Oh my gosh.
In the first round here, and I think they go with a guy like Michael Penix. If you remember, AVP was Aaron Rodgers' original offensive coordinator, and he likes a big arm who can throw it deep. So I don't think they're going to go for like Drake May or JJ McCarthy. They're going to wait and get a QB later on. And
I can tell you 100%.
Bobby Kraft was like, he's okay with drafting the seventh round QB with Tom Brady. So
yeah, they're so in love with Mac Jones there.
I don't think they're in love with Mac
Nick,
Jones.
you're acting like he's gonna fall like these other quarterbacks. They're just gonna you think he's just gonna fall to the second round? Michael Penix is projected to go in the first round.
I think they might have to make a move up for him, but they'll see how the board falls after him for sure. I think they go and get one of the best offensive talents in the whole draft, Marvin Harrison.
Well, leave it to Nick to
He's
screw
got
up the whole
Calvin
draft.
Johnson potential. Like, you don't pass on a guy. They have no good receivers right now. Ramondre was terrible
Yeah, they
last
also don't
year,
have a good quarterback.
and they're going to get him later on.
Okay. Well, we know that that's not happening, so we've 3 picks in, and the draft is already screwed. But
When has the draft ever gone how you expect?
I could okay.
Never.
I could see the Patriots trading out of 3.
I think they're taking a quarterback regardless, and it's going to be May or Jaden Daniels. All right. Cardinals are on the clock. They're probably getting Marvin Harrison, but obviously in this draft they can't. So they still need a wide receiver. I mean, their core right now is Michael Wilson, Chris Moore, and Greg Dortch. So basically Trey McBride is their wide receiver 1. But they need an actual receiver here, and I think they're going to go not with who I think is a wide receiver 2, which is Rome, but I think they're going to go and get Malik Neighbors if Marvin Harrison is off the board.
Yeah, they go and replace Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, they lose Hollywood. They get Neighbors who, at teams are very high on in this draft, and he's pretty consensus. A lot of teams are thinking he's wide receiver 1 at this point, but if he's on the clock, if he's on the board there, I think they get a receiver. They need a receiver so bad.
Yeah, another team that needs some playmakers after the Chargers absolutely just blew up their entire offense here. This is a very interesting pick for the Chargers because there's a lot of different ways they can go here. They can shore up, obviously keeping Justin Herbert upright with Joe Alt, the best tackle in the draft this year from Notre Dame. But I think after they got rid of basically all their offensive weapons and Eckler, Williams, and Keenan Allen, I think they do go receiver here. And they take Rome with the 5th pick off the board. I think it's just they need someone else. Obviously, Quentin Johnston's there, but he didn't really pan out last year. I know this is his rookie year, but didn't show any sort of flashes whatsoever. And I think later on they can get the offensive line that they're looking for. So go with the upside of Rome here.
You don't think Jimmy Boy likes a nice tight end in Brock Bowers?
I don't know. Not this early.
That's what they should do.
No. You just said Rome is the second best receiver. Why would they not take?
I just think Brock Bowers is the next best, just straight prospect as a receiving talent after Marvin Harrison, and he's at a very valuable position in tight end. So that's the only reason I like Bowers a lot. But yeah, I mean, Rome is a great pick.
Thank you.
All right. We got the Giants here at pick 6, sitting pretty. I mean, I was going to go one of 2 ways here, but the draft so far has dictated the direction I need to go. The Giants are going to be moving on from Danny Dimes. They are going to be thrilled that Drake May has fallen to them at 6, and they're going to get past that mistake of a contract that they gave him. I was between that and either Malik or Rome, depending on who was there, based on their wide receiver room, but with the way the draft's fallen, I think they go for arguably 3rd best prospect quarterback-wise in this draft, and move on from Danny Dimes.
I like it.
That would be pretty electric if Drake May fell a little bit, and I could see that happening. See the Titans getting him, if not. I don't know about Levis.
No, the Titans would not get him after drafting.
No, they definitely wouldn't.
Yeah.
They have to go with
Yeah.
the tackle.
Yeah, they have the easiest pick. I think of the entire mock. You just run it in. It's Joe Alt. I'm not sure if we need much discussion on this. He's the best tackle, safest. Well, he doesn't have the highest upside, but he has easily the highest floor and is going to be a perennial Pro Bowl, likely All Pro. So it's a lot.
And he's from Notre Dame. Notre Dame produces offensive linemen.
Corey's going to love seeing him. He's going to love playing against him.
Move on.
Okay.
All right, we got the Falcons here.
Yeah.
They're in a good spot. So they're probably looking at best available options here. Brock Bowers, they already got Kyle Pitts. I don't know about that. A little early for an interior defensive lineman. They could take a corner here. I think it's Quinyon Mitchell, maybe some recency bias with Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. One of the fastest corners in this year's draft, and maybe a really good talent who is playing at a smaller school and overlooked, and people think they find the diamond in the rough and want to be the next genius. So I think they take a Quinyon Mitchell here and get the best corner off the board.
I think he's the most overrated. I think he's good, but I think he's the most overrated corner. And I don't
Tested so well.
I mean, he tested awesome, but I think it's that recency bias with Sauce Gardner. It's like, oh, you can strike gold with a smaller school tight end or cornerback. I don't know.
like
think
he forced more like he not only any corner forced more incompletions than him in the last 2 years, but like again, he played at Toledo.
Yeah, he was in the MAC. I mean,
Yeah, he just never. And when he did, like I was watching some of the games he played against, like Marvin Harrison and Jackson Smith and Jigba last year, and the times he did play against talent like that, like he was getting beat. Like I don't know. To me, he's been climbing up ahead of some other corners that I think I prefer more than him. But yeah, he's definitely an athlete. Oh
him and
yeah.
AJ Terrell that would be a good duo.
Yeah.
That's what I think they go for.
I like that
Okay.
pick.
We got the Bears on the clock. They don't have Rome there, who I wanted to pick. I think if they don't go wide receiver, they're gonna get an offensive lineman, and I think Troy Fatanu is who they would go with out of Washington here. I think he's one of the best athletes in the offensive tackle class. He played left tackle in college, but in the NFL, I think he's going to be more of a guard or center. But he's very versatile. He's better at pass blocking than run blocking, but I think in the Bears offense with Caleb, that's going to be fine. He's very aggressive, which sometimes gets him into trouble. But when he has that momentum, he has like insane power. But when he's like anchored down, I think that's when he can get exposed sometimes. But under Shane Waldron, they're going to be utilizing a more like zone blocking scheme, which I think is going to play to his advantage with like getting that momentum. And so I just think he fits a little bit better than the guy out of Penn State. They have such similar last names, Fatanu and Fashanu. I'm probably pronouncing them wrong, but I just think the Washington guy fits the Bears just a little bit more.
All right, coming in at number 10 here, very interesting with the Jets. Obviously there's no receivers on the board. Well, there is, but that'd be a massive reach here. And I think that this could be a prime position for Brock Bowers to go to the New York Jets. In terms of what we've already established in other episodes, Brock Bowers is not really your traditional tight end. He's more of a slot. Like PB had already mentioned, PB believes that he's probably the second best receiving option in this draft. And going to the Jets where he can make immediate impact with Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a really good spot for him. Brock Bowers is, all up and down the draft in terms of where he may land. But honestly, if all the, those three receivers are gone, I could easily see the Jets taking him off the board here. So, and he's a really, really good fit there in the New York market.
I agree.
And the weird thing is, like, Rodgers has never historically been a tight end guy, has he?
No, he's had what's his name for the longest time in Green Bay. What's his name? He's been there for so long. He's so old. Oh my
Still
God.
there?
He was there
Martellus-
last year.
Martellus.
Yes. Martellus
Martellus
Lewis.
Bennett.
Mercedes Lewis.
Mercedes
Mercedes
Lewis.
Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
dude,
I thought he had played with some talented guys earlier on. But yeah, he's just never really been a tight end guy. But
they never drafted him a
yeah,
offensive weapon.
Yeah.
And would be perfect for him.
yeah, Garrett Wilson, Brock Bowers, Brees Hall. Not bad.
All right. Moving on to 11 here. The Vikings are jumping for joy at this point. They didn't have to trade up to get their guy. So they're going to have 2 first rounders without having to dish it out. I think they go with JJ McCarthy here. Obviously, got to fill that quarterback role. You got to keep Justin Jefferson happy. And what better way than another guy named JJ to do it?
You wild.
Great pick.
JJ to JJ.
Great pick. Yeah, just
It's his best.
congrats
landing
to the
spot, too.
Bears. Congrats to the Bears for that.
Why is
All right.
it? All right, go ahead.
All right, for the Broncos, I think they would sprint this pick in. I am not nearly as enamored with this prospect as some other pundits have been. I know that there are a few that are very high, others are kind of out on. But I think when you look at Russell Wilson and what Sean Payton really drove home as his key criticism is how taking sacks just kills drives, avoiding negative plays. You look at his success with Drew Brees, it's accuracy, it's touch, it's running the offense and kind of facilitating at a high level. I think his best, the prospect that he would probably target the most out of any of the QBs they actually have a shot at is here for him. He's going to take Bo Nix.
Wow.
I thought you were gonna say
Mr. Bo.
Penix.
I did too.
Yeah. I mean,
I like
I
Nix
think-
more than Penix, but
I think Vegas is worried about their QB room after they see Bo Nix go there. So I think they go and get Michael Penix here. Patriots are sad they missed out on drafting correctly. So
They'll get Spencer Rattler.
Nick
the sixth
is
round. Can't win
he's
them
quickly
all.
realizing why that is not gonna happen at
Can't
all.
win them all.
I think maybe they end up with like Jordan Travis or like Joe Milton.
Yeah, just crushing with just
Don't.
so
I don't know.
happy with
Yeah.
that.
Well, we have the Saints.
It's
are
the
gonna take-
Patriots. Like they're gonna fumble it. They
All right.
drafted
Saints-
Cole
the-
Strange in the first round.
The Saints
Saints
are gonna take Sam Hartman here, right, PB?
Yeah, you nailed it. Saints, we're going tackle or interior defensive line here. That's what I think is happening. I think after the Chase Young trade, they're going to prioritize the interior defensive line between like Cam Jordan, Granderson, and Chase Young. I think there's enough depth at edge that it should be like good enough. Whereas the interior of our line is so bad. And we drafted Brian Brees last year, and he's decent in like getting after the passer, but I mean his run defense, and it doesn't get much worse.
It's crazy. It's almost like he was never a good run defender.
Yeah, well, okay, but he's decent. He's not like great, but it was his rookie year. So
That was the
when we-
entire knock on him coming out of college. It's like,
Yeah.
pass rush, solid run
Yeah.
defense, not.
So
and then
so
he
now
was-
what you do is we need a guy on the interior that can just stuff the run. Our O-line isn't the best either, but I think it's more serviceable than like, and I think there's more offensive tackles. Like it's a deeper class. So I think right here you get Byron Murphy out of Texas. I would be very happy with this pick. He's excellent in run defense. He just tosses O linemen. He's got a very explosive first step. He doesn't have like a bunch of those like, finesse pass rush moves. But again, like that's not what he's great at. He's great at stopping the run. So he's not gonna like rack up sacks, but he is still really good at getting pressure on the quarterback. And I think he's someone that's going to force double teams, and his teammates can get the sacks. So
A
just
little
stop the
reminiscent
run.
of Cam Jordan.
What?
A little reminiscent of Cam Jordan in his prime.
I mean, Cam Jordan is much better at getting after the passer than him. But no, I think he just is a great fit into the just on the Saints team. So I'd be very happy with this pick here.
All right. Next on the clock is my Indianapolis Colts.
They need like
Um,
5 of these guys, by the way.
This is a really interesting pick. I was hoping that Brock Bowers would make it this far. Obviously, I took him with the Jets. I think that'd be a massive bump up in the wide receiver room. I'm classifying him as a wide receiver at this point in time, because we already have the best tight end in the league, Jelani Woods. But in terms of this draft right here, I think we have to take the next Jason Sehorn, and that is going to be Cooper DeJean from Iowa, white cornerback. Can't tell you last one that was drafted in the first round. Can't tell you Jason Sehorn was the last white cornerback to be starting. PB, who did he play for? Go.
Who?
Jason Sehorn.
No idea.
Your
Nick,
team.
go.
Broncos.
No. Frankie, go.
Cowboys.
No. Alex.
The
Saints.
Colts.
Who?
The Colts.
I said
No.
the Saints.
Well,
This is good
I think he did
podcasting.
play for the Saints, but he played for the Giants for most of his
He's
career.
going to go through every single team.
No. BB, your turn.
He,
Actually, an
no.
XFL team. Yeah.
Yeah, no. The Colts need help on the outside. There's a really young room, anyways, to begin with. Obviously, last year with Juju Brents, and the 7th or the 6th rounder that we played. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but I think he's one of the most athletic corners in the draft. Obviously, he's very very fast, which obviously you don't see in his make and build. But yeah, I think he comes in and he helps the Colts secondary out. That's gonna need a lot of help this year. So give me Cooper.
Best corner in the class for sure. I know Francis is
sad.
bummed because he definitely wanted to pick the East, have the Eagles take him.
Well, I mean, it's what I think the Eagles will do, so we will not take him. We'll do something that'll make me sad. But yeah, Seahawks on the board. Wait, I'm not actually picking for the Seahawks, am I?
I'm picking for the Seahawks.
Well, you know what? I really wanted to. So thanks for ruining the night.
yeah. I think the Seahawks here are gonna go offensive line. They need a lot of work there, and gonna need some time for Geno back there. So I think initially I thought they were gonna go Vashanu because the Seahawks offensive coordinator actually coached him at UW, and but I think they're gonna see Fuaga, whatever it is, on the board. He's the better talent. He's the better tackle. He can play multiple positions on the line. I think they shore up that offensive line a little bit here and get one of the top guys in Fuaga.
Fuaga. What a name.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
I don't think he allowed a single sack in college.
He also
That's
played in
wild.
the Pac-12.
Yeah, I know that there's some,
Still wild.
All right, so here I think the Jags. I mean, I think they're going to be happy with the way the board fell. I don't know if this is really a likely outcome in terms of them making it all the way to 17, but I think with Josh Allen, that the contract that they're going to have to hand out, needing probably some additional leverage at the edge position, they're going to go with the highest upside. I'm not sure. I don't think he's the safest, but I think Dallas Turner here is going to make a lot of sense, fits a need, and he's an athletic freak.
Man, they at that point they would have spent so much draft capital with the number 1 pick last year on their edge. That'd be a lot.
Trayvon
Dallas-
Walker, right?
he has that like Micah Parsons like esque type of like role.
He's gonna go high. I mean,
No, no, I think
No
he'll probably
question.
go higher than this for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, he's got like all those like traits that you want for sure.
Yeah, I think the Bengals would have taken him here if he's still on the board, mainly because they're just so tired of Myles Garrett wearing and tearing them down every year, twice a year. So they try to go and get a comparable tackle who could compete with him, but that won't happen here. But I think they still stick with that game plan and go to Liatu Latu from UCLA. He's a pretty athletic edge guy, really good at stopping the run, decent pass rush, not the biggest build, but he's fast. He plays a little bit maybe like maybe it'll remind him of Vontaze Burfict in the run game. And they go and try and get an edge to slow down the Browns, but it won't help them.
You think they'd really pass up on Fashanu, a pass heavy team, passing up on probably the best pass protector?
Yeah. They don't really care about their O-line. They invested a lot in them last year in free agency. I mean, it's in consideration for sure, but they could use him. They could use Terry on Arnold. Their cornerbacks aren't that great. So they could go a lot of directions here, I guess.
Yeah, I'm bummed you took him. I thought he was gonna be a perfect fit on the Rams here after losing someone like Donald, but I do think so. Going into last year, their offensive line was one of their glaring weaknesses, but then they kind of held up better than anticipated. And then this offseason, they re-signed two of their interior guys and then signed Jonah Jackson to 3 years, 51 mil. So then corner was another weakness. Then they signed Tre'Davious White and Darius Williams. So I don't think they're going there. Lost their Aaron Donald. I think they gotta go edge here. And again, you're making some funky decisions over there, Nick, with some of your picks. And just throwing things off.
Really blown up the
Um,
draft.
Yeah.
Gotta keep
But
it
I
interesting.
think if he's gone, I think they'd go Jared Verse here. I didn't know this, but he put on 40 pounds in a year after the 2020 season was canceled due to COVID. 40 pounds, and then he came back and was an All-American, transferred to FSU, and then was immediately effective. Extremely explosive, powerful, has a really good swim move. Needs to improve a little bit of his anticipation and processing on run plays. He doesn't always adjust the best to those, but I think he would be a good fit for the Rams, and it fits a glaring need for them.
Alrighty. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers here at number 20. I think they could shock people here and maybe go quarterback and Penix. But I think that they ultimately will give Russell Wilson another weapon here. Obviously getting rid of Deontay Johnson in the trade. I think they go Brian Thomas Jr. here, another first round prospect out of LSU. Obviously he had an exceptional season this year with Jaden Daniels behind quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is one of probably the most putrid offenses in the last like 5 years that we've ever seen. And to go along with obviously Pickens there, younger guy, he's now the kind of like the senior guy in that locker room. Or is Allen Robinson, do they retain him or is he a free? I don't know, but they need more help out there because they don't have anyone. So Brian Thomas is perfect pick here for them.
Bust. Okay, go ahead.
I don't. Hey, he very well could be. I'm just saying
The
most
Steelers are
upset.
usually whenever the Steelers pick a receiver, you always have to be like, you can never like completely doubt them.
Yeah, they've nailed it
Because
so far.
they are very good at scouting them, but for that reason, they won't take Brian Thomas.
Darius Herbert Bay was not a good prospect that they looked at. We'll say
They've,
that.
they've hit on some late round guys pretty good. Though.
Just their consistency to hit on some guys is still pretty.
I know they took Darius Hayward-Bay like top 5 because he ran like a 4.2.
I just want to say it is shocking that Fashanu is still on the board.
It
Okay.
is.
It is.
He might still be.
Wow.
I
The
mean,
Dolphins?
I mean, I'm between.
What do you think they would
Fashanu
go
and
over someone like him?
Jerry Newton.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, so Christian Wilkins and Raekwon Davis are both out for an extended period of time. And I feel like Jerry Newton kind of fills that Christian Wilkins type of role where he's like an explosive guy. He can get upfield. He's got the size, 6'2", 300 pounds. He's quick for that size guy. And I think, they've lost a lot in free agency this year. And I think that they go for basically filling a hole that they've got for at least the first couple of weeks of the year. And then after that, they're kind of, mimicking a similar type of like 49ers line where they're trying to build up that D line, build in the trenches. So I am between the two of them here. I did not expect Fashanu to be here, to be totally honest. So, but I think I'm still going to go Jerry Newton out of Illinois.
Yeah, when I was picking for the Saints, I think it's like between I think Byron Murphy fits a little bit better.
I like him a little bit more too.
Newton is a little more versatile than him, like at the run and the pass.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man.
Your Eagles are up.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that the board fell perfectly for the Eagles. So I think that you have two corners that would make a ton of sense. Terry and Arnold, they typically prefer a lot of their outside corners to tall. Like they like the long. Like Ringo made a ton of sense for the mold of what they view an outside corner to look like. So you'd think that Terrion Arnold would make a ton of sense. Good athlete, ascending talent. And I don't think they're going to draft him because I think Stoutland will just take the phone from Howie and he'll draft Amarius Mims, who I will say is the highest upside of any tackle in the class.
That's a big boy.
Eagles love, I mean, there's no O-line in the NFL that prioritizes athletes more than the Eagles. He is an outrageous athlete. And then if you think of what they accomplished with Mailata, and then you take someone that has a similar build, similar movement skills, I think it's going to be too much for them to pass up, and they love to invest in the offensive line.
You think he has more so you said you think he has the most overall upside, more than Tyler Guyton?
Yes.
Interesting.
I think it makes sense. I mean, he lost Jason Kelsey inside. Lane Johnson's like 39, maybe like 56, honestly. So his days are numbered.
Cleveland
So
math,
I
baby.
mean,
Good job.
Somewhere in that range. So I think it makes sense. They bolster what they're good at. I think in this case, the Vikings turn to the other side of the ball. That offense is pretty set. They got their new shiny quarterback earlier in the draft and a couple great receiving options. I could see them potentially going for Jackson Powers Johnson, who's one of the best center prospects in recent years, to help solidify that offense a little bit. But I think there's just more work to be done on defense here. And they probably go for Terrion Arnold or Nate Wiggins here at cornerback. But I think they go with the roll tide and get Terrion Arnold. They need some help in that secondary. They have for years. So they address a long-standing problem.
Yeah, he doesn't fit their normal cornerback build of just like tall and slow.
Yeah. Maybe the next Patrick Peterson type of guy. That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Well,
Your
Okay.
favorite team,
I
PB.
yeah, I don't know if I would go that. I mean, Patrick Peterson. I mean, what did he go like third or fifth overall? He was a rare athlete,
Yeah,
and
He's
Yeah.
actually on the Vikings.
He
No,
that's what I was saying. You know,
No, it's
maybe they
Steelers
just
now,
want
right?
a good
Oh, he-
corner.
he was on the
Nick will
Vikings
find
last
like the smallest like
Comparison.
comparison to someone and be like, yeah, he
Yeah.
could be the
They
next.
played the same position on the same team, so they're alike.
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna throw the challenge flag at that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've this is almost every pick so far. You've taken the guy. I thought you were about to take Jackson Powers Johnson, and I think the
That makes sense
Cowboys.
too. But
Yeah, I mean, you took Marvin Harrison from the Cardinals, and you took the Odd Latu from the Rams. But Jackson Powers Johnson is here for the Cowboys. You know, they have some. They could go wide receiver, they could go corner, but I just think the Cowboys like building in the trenches too. So he was the best center in college football. It was a wrestler also, so that always helps with like any type of leverage on the line. Great balance, ton of upper body strength. He's just a plug and play player from day one. He didn't allow a single sack in 3 years and allowed a total of 3 hurries. So I mean, he's just like a very sure thing in my opinion. Uh, he has like exceptionally small arms, but he kind of uses them to his like advantage. Like he's like this little fire hydrant, and he just
Jason Kelsey, those Jason Kelsey alligator arms.
yeah, he has smaller arms, but he uses them to his advantage for sure. Like dude just stops anyone coming at him. So the Cowboys would be thrilled with that pick.
Well, makes my pick very simple here. The Green Bay Packers are on the board. They need help on the offensive line. Also, their secondary is pretty pitiful. But if the board falls like this, Fashanu is going to be their pick here, without a doubt. Back.
What just happened?
Bakhtiari is no longer there. Obviously, he didn't play all last year, but they needed to shore up their franchise quarterback in Jordan Love on the offensive line. So he will be going there, and I'm gonna be done speaking for the rest of the night. So
I feel like an idiot to a degree because I did not
You
think
should.
Fashanu would
Yep.
fall. And the Cowboys probably would take Fashanu over Jackson Powers Johnson
Yeah, that's
if
where I thought you were going.
if that actually happened.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna go with that Fashanu went way earlier somehow in another universe where we did
Yeah.
this. But yeah, the Cowboys probably would have taken Fashanu. So I just thought there was no way he would have.
Alomune Wawa Fineshnu. That's his name.
I mean, I think Jackson Powers Johnson is still is a fine pick here, even if Fashanu was, but they would probably take Fashanu if that actually happened. Okay.
All right,
Who's up?
going on to the Bucks here at 26. I think they fill an immediate need in cornerback. They just traded Carlton Davis, so they're going to immediately want to fill that hole. And I think a guy like Nate Wiggins fills that hole for them pretty quickly, pretty immediately. He's a guy you can start from day one. Yeah, I think that trade made it pretty clear where they're aiming for in the draft.
Filling that hole.
Yeah, got to.
All right.
All right. I mean, Cardinals, so with the way it fell, did they initially take Neighbors? Is that what happened after Nick's
Yes.
interesting take of events? Okay.
Yeah.
wait till this actually happens, and then
So they
we'll
still
have
got
to
a
know.
receiver. So it shouldn't change a ton.
Ooh, this is yeah, because he's someone that I don't think is going to be on the board. Someone that I think they'll really like the movement skills, similar to what they targeted last year on the O line. I think Graham Barton. I think it's highly likely he gets taken by Green Bay if he's available. But if he falls, I can see the Cardinals really liking what he has to offer, and he probably moves to the interior, so he fits a new form.
Throw him next to Paris Johnson. That'd be
Yeah.
a young duo. All right, we're on to the Bills. Man, they could go a lot of directions. They said goodbye to Stephon Diggs. They probably need a wide receiver. I think anyone here is a little bit of a reach. They also just lost Trey White, and they've been looking for a corner even before him to pair on the
Here we
other
go.
side. So I think they have to go the cornerback
Oh
here.
my gosh.
And Josh Allen loves himself some Kool-Aid on a hot day.
You
So
are insane.
they're going to
for
be
that.
doing at practice from now on. And I think the Bills go with Kool-Aid to get back to their Buffalo brand of football and a strong defense, because their offense, they're going to need some new answers this year.
Yeah, you know what the answer could have been? Taking a wide receiver in with their first pick.
I think when there's still really good guys on the board, it's tough, maybe an early trade into the second feels a little bit better for an Adonai Mitchell or, one of these wide receivers. But I think there's a few that fall in the same kind of second round talent range that they're not going to reach for. And,
The Bills are
I think
gonna
they
get a
make some day
receiver.
two moves here, but they get the best guy on the board here.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid
Bills-
was cornerback one throughout the entire year, by the way. Like,
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't until recently in the offseason that some of these other guys have ascended up draft boards. Maybe Nate Wiggins was there with them. So, maybe an overlooked guy here. I think that's where they go.
Yeah, they won't go that way, but it's all right. He took some shots. I swear, this entire draft, you have just taken the guy
I'm getting the best
I'm-
guys on the
I'm-
board. So
that I'm
glad
about to take.
doing
No,
what
but
I'm
you're not
doing.
even doing team fits or team like what they actually need most. You're just taking crazy.
You don't
picks.
think the Bills need a cornerback?
No, they need a corner,
Their
but they need a
secondaries-
dude. Okay, do you know who's the wide receiver one for the Bills right now, Nick?
I don't know. Maybe Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, there you go.
Stud.
That's who wide receiver one is, and you don't
But
think they're
they
going
can
to go
get they can
receiver.
get a comparable guy in the second round is my point. So if you're looking at draft,
There's gonna be a
value,
huge
there's
run.
There's just as much upside from whatever wide receiver they get in the second that they would have to pick right here.
Yeah,
So-
but the thing about receivers is teams get their guy. They don't usually they're not just like, oh, whoever falls. That's not usually how drafting your receiver works. But anyway, we can move on.
I don't think their guy is here. I mean,
So their guy is nowhere then. There only 3 receivers have been taken.
4.
that's right.
What are you talking about? Their guy isn't here, so they don't have a guy.
You know what? They spent a lot of draft capital last year on Dalton Kincaid in the first round. Diggs was a big loss, but his production
tight
was
end.
not stellar.
I
Gabe Davis
Oh,
also
oh.
gone. I get it.
Rip
I
the
know
remainder
where you're
of
coming
my
from,
hair
but
out.
there's other weaknesses on the team.
Yeah, there's one big weakness though. Yeah, so the Lions are screaming right now based off of what just happened because nothing is
Clearly.
making sense.
Clearly.
They literally all of their corners have been taken. Kool-Aid, Nate Wiggins, every corner that they were targeting is now gone. And now it seems like kind of a reach on any corner. So I think, their offensive line is still good, but they did lose the one guy to I just said it earlier in the Jonah Jackson, I think. That's who they lost. So I do
correct.
think that they could go offensive line here. Man, Nick got me all screwed up. But
Maybe an interior lineman like Jonah
Yeah.
Jackson.
I'm gonna go with Tyler Guyton here. I think he's the best athlete of all. Francis said the guy the Eagles got, but
And that would be
okay. Well, I think Tyler Guyton is a guy. He didn't start playing offensive tackle until college. He lacks some experience, but his physical ability stands out a lot. Like his foot speed for someone his side is amazing. Like go type in Tyler Guyton highlights, whatever that looks like, for offensive linemen just moving around.
Pancakes,
Yeah.
pancakes, pancakes.
The areas in which he's inconsistent is just someone still kind of learning the position, which makes sense. And I think that can be coached. But if he's developed, I think he can be outstanding. So I'm going with the high ceiling here, with Tyler Guyton for the Lions.
Don't watch the highlights of that Texas game. Oof. Byron Murphy gave him fits.
I
Well,
love to have
I'm
Byron Murphy on the Saints.
very happy, or the Ravens are probably very happy that this is falling this way. Ravens actually need a lot of help here on the offensive side. The receiving core is pretty pitiful, but I think kind of like Nick said, they can probably wait on that position. There's a more glaring hole in their offense right now. They lost 3 offensive linemen this offseason. So I think here they do take JC Latham as their next tackle. As where he played most, obviously he's a little bit versatile. He played guard when he first got to Bama, then moved to right tackle in his last 2 seasons there. And this will help the Ravens out tremendously on their offensive line. So JC Latham, who arguably is, I think, could be a top, one of the top 4 prospects on offensive line here in the draft. So give me him.
All right, moving on to the Niners. This is kind of tough here. I think they go one of 3 ways. They either go the traditional 49ers route and they get a guy who is going to be on the D-line, on the edge, opposite Bosa in Chop Robinson. He kind of fits that build that they're looking for in the D-line. Explosive first step. Very fast guy, 4.48 for his size. So I think they either go that route. I could see them, depending on how the board fell, addressing some of that O-line help that they need, especially at tackle. I think a lot of the guys in the draft we're doing here are going to be, they're gone by the time that they want to go there. And I think there's a chance too that on draft day, they no longer have Brandon Ayuk. And so they maybe try and fill that hole that he plays. So I'm a little bit torn here, but I think they stick. I'm going to stick with the traditional 49ers route and get a D lineman and Chop. And get a guy that they're hoping turns out to be Micah Parsons 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Where is he
not Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he's
2.0.
definitely, he's not going to be that, but he has.
But they're
A
I
lot
mean,
of
Chase Young project
Yeah.
blew up.
I just said that they hope.
Yeah.
For the
They-
record.
they can hope. And the thing is, like, he doesn't have that, like, that range of pass rush moves that
Agreed.
Parsons has, but
On that
he's
line,
for
though.
sure explosive. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably the best, like most athletic, at his position in the class. Like, he's a freak athlete.
I think
But
they
he
try.
doesn't. His problem is, like, if he doesn't win with that athleticism off the line, then he just doesn't have that range of moves to get after the passer. He just gets blocked. So
Yeah, I think they're trying. I mean, they tried to get a guy opposite Bosa and Chase Young. That didn't work out, and so I think that they're potentially going to try and do the same thing. I mean, he's a guy who's going to see single coverage, single blocking, pretty much every snap of the game.
yeah,
So I think from
Yeah.
a pure athleticism and just the way they build their team, I think it makes sense.
and they have a strong D line, and I think Chop can really take advantage of, like, those just inferior tackles 1-on-1 is when he
Right.
faces, like, an unathletic offensive lineman, that's when he really gets after it. So that's kind of like the matchups you need for him.
All right, final pick of the first round. I think this is it's become a more and more obvious pick for at least what, what position they're going to target. I'm not going to be Nick. and I'm gonna take the obvious selection. I think the Chiefs, I mean, they're looking for speed. I mean, off the field, they got great speed with Rashee Rice. So I think they're gonna look for a different type of speed. So you look at the top of kind of the prospects that are available. They'd really like Mitchell until they looked at the tape, and then they would say, I want an actually good wide receiver, and they would get the whitest name in the NFL drafts, Lad McConkey.
Then teams should be super, super upset that they just let, especially the Bills, who should have taken Lad McConkey, and let the Chiefs, their like arch nemesis, take him. That's why you get your guy, and you don't
Yeah.
let this happen.
I don't know what you're talking about. Kool-Aid's awesome too. They got Kool-Aid just to defend him
Yeah,
for the next decade.
Yeah, it's a good thing that then when they're on offense, they're just gonna not put up points.
It's fine. Josh Allen will throw it to himself. It's not a big deal.
He's gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love Shakir, dude.
Khalil Shakir, wide receiver 1.
They love him.
Yeah. All right. Kind of all over the place one here. But we will be doing a 2.0 as it gets a little bit closer. Probably some more rumors that have come out, and hopefully we can have a little more functional draft and draft a little more for team needs on certain
Tell us how
sides.
you really feel, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're upset that I stole your guys all night.
Dude, every pick I was getting so upset.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I was taking the best guys on the board, so I'm not surprised by that.
But you weren't drafting us, so forget it. We've talked about it.
Let's look. Do the Patriots need a wide receiver? Yeah.
They need something
No,
a
we
little
don't
bit
have to run
more.
through this whole thing, but
They need something. Every position you took, they needed something more. And so anyway, we'll be back for a 2.0. And go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on it too much, Nick, but you look at the quarterback class next year, it's very bad. Teams are going to reach on quarterbacks, and they don't have a quarterback.
No, what are you talking about?
I think they love Joe Milton. I think that's
No
what's
one
going
should
on.
love Joe Milton.
what
As
are
a
you talking
Michigan
about? Marvin
fan,
Harrison is going to take the Patriots to a whole new level.
I
with
agree.
Mac Jones. That
Okay,
was
so
the
all
pick
right,
there.
so walk me through this. They get some, top quarterback prospect. Who's he throwing to?
it doesn't matter
The
when you
skeleton
hit,
of Wes
Yes.
Welker? Come on. There's
the-
nobody there.
the
it doesn't
deepest
matter because you
position
can
in the
build that
draft.
out later if you get a prospect that has higher upside. Like
I
for
think
example,
Marvin
Drake-
Harrison has more upside than anyone they could take in this spot.
No,
Marvin Harrison is falling to the Colts, so it was a terrible pick, anyways.
they're not going to get Marvin Harrison. That's just a
Well,
fact.
you know what? We got how many days? How many days away? A couple weeks?
21 or
3
20.
weeks, I think.
Yeah.
3
we'll
weeks
see.
from yesterday.
We're just gonna have to wait 3 weeks. I'll
Uh,
tell you.
I know.
Nick,
I'm
I can't
excited.
believe I gave up my shift at McDonald's for this shit.
That's the Big Mac. The Big
Yeah.
Mac
All right.
Alpha right there. Marvin
Again,
Harrison.
we'll be doing a 2.0, and it'll be a little bit more functional. We'll have to have a talk behind the scenes.
You can't tame me.
And yeah, so please leave a like and subscribe, and we will, well, maybe don't for this video, actually. Maybe just hold off on that, and we'll see you next time.